Okay, let's continue on with the next video in this whole series of videos. In the previous video, I think we summed up, we finalized the planning of this engagement. Now let's move on and see how we can do the more like the year-end field work and how we can document audit evidence. And in order to do so, I'm going to switch to the document manager. I think this is now a easier, better UI to use because this now gives me more detail and I'm able to do a couple of things that I cannot do from the dashboard. You will see that later on. First of all, let's open up the work program for receivables and use that as the example to do the year-end work. Now you might have noticed that I've locked my work program. That's just to indicate that this is now final. More junior team members can no longer modify, insert procedures, etc. They can still do, they can only complete the procedures, which is exactly what I want. So I'm changing heads. Right now I'm, let's say, the junior in the team and I'm performing some procedures. So starting with the analytical procedures, that's usually something that you would do in the lead sheet. So I can just click my annotation here and create a reference to my receivables lead sheet right there. And you see that becomes a nice reference. I can click on it. It's a hyperlink. It takes me directly to the lead sheet. Within the lead sheet, there's a couple of things I can do, or actually quite a few things that I can do. Let's go through those step by step. I can start here with this summary text in the bottom. This text area in the bottom that I think is best used to write a summary on whatever you're doing in your lead sheet. So if you want to do a short summary of the work you've completed or the key things, you can do that here. You have to find your own way what it is that you would want to document within the work program per procedure and actually on the lead sheet. But well, it is available here. Then well, what you would usually do, I think, in a lead sheet, a lot of things require annotations. So I'm just going to switch on my ribbons in working papers here, go to the home ribbon, and here you can see all the annotations. So let's say that we've checked, we've done some work on this account. I can just say check, check here. So back in the old days, I think whoever started at an accounting firm or audit firm, they would give you a green, blue, and red pen, black even, and they would explain all these little tick marks and say, okay, if you do this, this is this color, and use this tick mark for that. So I think this is kind of like the electronic equivalent of that. Now these tick marks are not fixed again. I can change those at the engagement level, at the firm level. And then I go to the engagement ribbon to find my tick marks. So it's quite easy. You can just do something like OK, which is quite a bad definition, I think, but I can use black, and that's now part of my tick marks. Going back here, going to my home ribbon, well, there's actually one hidden there, so now my OK tick mark is also added to the list of tick marks. So you can change the definition, can change the description. It shows who has done it and on which date. Now if you want to mention something, want to add a note, there's also an option for that. It's this one, to use a new note, and you can just go in and say this is a comment. Okay, and those comments will automatically number comment 2. Well, so comment, let's not get confused with numbering, even though that's not relevant, and then do another comment here. So now I got 3 comments, and as you can see, when I hover over, it shows me the description in that actual comment. Now I can also view all my notes here. So it's the view all notes, and as you can see, when I hover over the note, the corresponding number actually highlights or lights up. So I think this is really convenient for a reviewer to review whatever is going on that particular lead sheet. So I can switch those off again. Even though we think everyone should do a paperless audit, I think Work in Papers is perfectly equipped to do that, and there's huge amount of benefits like being able to synchronize your files so you don't have to drive back and forth to the office, pick up this big box and get stuck in traffic, etc. We understand there are still some countries, still some firms that would like to print and do hard copies. So when I now print, let me just see if that's here in the print. No, that's not here, the print preview, there. The annotations actually get converted, so my tick marks are still there, they're explained here at the bottom, and my notes are actually converted into footnotes. So you see the summary text and then my footnotes there, all nicely explained on this printout. Now, print can be PDF, of course. You can print to PDF. And when you print to PDF, you can actually choose to show or not show the annotations. But if you do want to have those hard copy, and I think this is really interesting because that's the stuff that I usually forgot when I was a junior team member working in an audit firm. So I think that's quite convenient to have that there. Okay, I'm going to go back to the document manager, and now let's say for the sake of this demo that I'm going to add some documents to my document manager. Now I got a couple of documents here on the desktop of my computer, and I can just pick up, for example, an Excel sheet that the client has sent to me and drag and drop that into my folder for receivables. So you might notice that it automatically numbers, so it becomes 0.126. I can also do that for a Word document here. I can do that for a PDF. Basically, any type of document that I want, I can drag and drop into my Caseware Working Papers document manager. And now, whenever I would save my file compressed, that is included, or when I sync, that file gets synced as well to one of the other users. Going back to my lead sheet, using the tabs here at the bottom, I can also say, let's say, for example, this allowance, let's say we did a calculation on that, and this Excel sheet is actually the specification of that calculation. I can do a right click and I create a document reference to any document in the in my engagement file. I'm going to do it and link it to my Excel sheet here. So similar to what you saw when we started with this now turns into a hyperlink. I can actually click on it and it will now execute Excel, open up this file, and I can now work in this Excel sheet. Now this is blank, of course. Usually your client would have some amounts here in it. But now that I'm in Excel, I would like to show you another feature as well, or actually this is an additional product. We call it Caseware Connector. There we go, Caseware, it resides here in the add-ins and then connector. And what I can do with Caseware Connector is link cells in this Excel sheet to data in my Caseware Working Paper file. Okay, that sounds all a bit technical. Let me show you a couple of examples to maybe clarify exactly what that means. So I'm going to my cell A1 here. I'm clicking my Caseware linkage. And the first thing that I want to do is, it would be nice to have the client name here at the top of my Excel sheet. So I'm opening up my my connector dialog here. And at the top here, I got the option engagement properties. So this shows you a list, and you might remember this from earlier, well, probably the first video where we created the client and put in the operating name and set the year-end date. So what I can do now is say cell A1, still keep that selected, go to the value of my operating name, do a right click and say link formula. And you can see that value is now put into the cell. It's actually not only the value, as you can see here, it now is a dynamic formula that says Caseware CLP2, CLP2 being the code for operating name. So this now means that if I were to go back into Working Papers, make a change, the name will be automatically changed here. And that's actually quite convenient. So what this allows you to do is create an Excel sheet as a template, add that to your audit template, and for any new file that's created, that Excel sheet will be in as well. The Excel sheet will point to the cell specifying the name of the client. So whenever it's opened or whenever it's used, it will always show the name of the right client. So with that, I think there's more automation that you can do, not only using K-Shoe documents, automatic documents, but also integrating Excel worksheets, workbooks in a really nice way into your firm audit template. Okay, I can do the same with the year-end date. Let me see, I think that's there. Link formula, and it would put that now in. So of course this is the hard value, or the actual value. If I want to show that as a date, I have to go in, change my cell to make sure that the cell also shows as a date. That's just the Excel formatting. Because this is still Excel, I can still go in, make that red, make that bold. So I don't lose any of the features of Excel. It's just that the value now comes from working papers. Okay, so that's one example. The other thing that I can do is I can also link in financial data. So if I go to my connector dialog again, I can choose to use accounts, for example. And in my trial balance, account 700 is my account for trade receivables. So you know what? I'm just going to put in 700 here. And then my description, I'm going to select the description in my connector window, have cell B6 selected, and now click the checkbox and it will put in the trade receivables description. I'm going to do the same for my value and link that as a formula. Okay. Now, if we have a closer look at this formula here, 700 is just the hard value. This formula here actually says caseware account ACT description 700. I can also use the Excel function arguments dialog if I like that better. And it says, well, it comes up with the same thing, like account number 700. Instead of having 700 as we call hard-coded as text, I can now also say, no, this doesn't have to be 700. I want to take this value from my cell A6. And you see the result is the same. So I pick up this account description from cell A6, still get my account description for trade receivables. If I do the same here for my current year value, you will see there's a couple of more arguments. I can say my balance type, which is BR. In this example, that stands for reporting balance, which is the balance, the unadjusted balance plus adjustments plus reclassification entries. I'm fine with BR. I'm going to keep that, but I'm also I'm going to link my account number to the same cell A6 there. Okay. Well, I don't really like how this is not a monetary value. So doing this, I can now say, okay, I'm going to go in and, well, that was not what I wanted. Say this 700, 702, 703. And if I remember correctly, I think I had 711, 712, and 713. Yeah, not sure why these are not showing up as numbers. Oh, sorry, they're wrongly aligned. Now, because this is Excel, I can pick up these formulas and just copy over the same formula to the other rows. And because it now picks up the account number from column A, you see that I get the descriptions here for all my different accounts and the different values. Okay, let me just insert one more here. Copy, paste. Okay, and this is all, and I can now insert a total. So this is still all the basic Excel functionality that you're used to. I can bold, whatever, but this data now comes from working papers. So whenever I make a change, the change will be reflected here right away. So I mentioned how you can. So what I think is a very good use case for this is to create worksheets that have tests that you perform for multiple clients. And with Connector, you only have to design the worksheet once. So you design the worksheet, you add it to your template, and the only thing that you need to pay attention to is that you don't use the accounts, what I've done here in my example, but that you use the mappings. Because the mappings will be the same across each and every engagement file that you create. The mapping is the standardization of your client's trial balances for any engagement file that you're now creating based on a template. So when I'm doing this, and I'm now switching to the mappings and linking the value of the mappings, I only have to build up this formula once. I can do the same again. I can reference that to my cell A6 and do the same for this here. So let's say I build a supporting working paper for a detailed test, and I build that off my mappings, add it to my template. Each and every client file that I now will create will have that same Excel sheet. The mapping is standardized, so when you link your client's trial balance to the mapping, that same sheet will have the right information, the right balances, and is ready to use as soon as you create the file, import the trial balance, and map your accounts. So we have a lot of clients that have put in some effort to create these supporting working papers, and it has saved them a huge amount of money, created a lot more consistency across their files, and users don't have to go in and redo all kinds of Excel sheets and copy and paste amounts, and then the amounts are out of sync with the amounts in your lead sheet and everything. So there's a lot of efficiency gains that you can create here using Casework Connector. Okay, the final two options I'd like to show here is you can also use your tick marks. So the ones that we just created here, there's the OK that I've just added. Yep, that's okay. And I can now also add these tick marks here in my Excel sheet. So Connector will make sure that you get the exact same list of tick marks in your Excel sheet that you have in your lead sheet as well. These are images, so you can move them around. But even with that limitation, this will make your Excel sheet look much more integrated, and you will have the same consistency in tick marks between your lead sheets, your case view documents, and your Excel sheets with your supporting working papers. So I think that's a really big advantage there. The other thing that I can do is I can go to Tools and use the Reference option, reference to a document, and now I can create references to any other document in my engagement file. So let's make a reference back. We used to call that a cross-reference back to the lead sheet. You will see that becomes a hyperlink. It's clickable again, and when I click it, I just jump back into my lead sheet. So I think using that referencing will make it very easy for a reviewer to go to the details, to go back. I think those are some really interesting, really good features. Okay, another thing that I would like to do here is have a look at this PDF. And if I double click this PDF, you can see it opens directly in Working Papers. So the reason why that is, or I've actually configured this document to be viewed to use the internal image viewer of Casework Working Papers. I can also use my regular external PDF viewer, but now switching to my internal image viewer, that gives me the benefit that it opens directly within Working Papers full screen, and you can see it's still part of your engagement file. Now, this feature is really, I like it a lot. It's very, I think it's great, because this feature allows us to now use PDFs, view them in Working Papers, but also annotate directly on the face of the PDF. So I can set annotations. I can add a comment. There's a comment. That will create a text box. I can just drag and drop that around, or I can use this highlighter to say, okay, let me look at the address. That's Dutch for invoice address, and mark this here. So with this option to annotate on a PDF, when we released this feature, this was the last step in going 100% paperless, Before we had this feature, many firms still had a little hard copy file, and they were referencing from the lead sheets and automatic documents to that hard copy file. But now that we have this feature, you can just add the PDF into your engagement file, and your PDF will sync. Everything is electronic, so you really can take benefit of the take all the benefits of the internet, work any place, anywhere, still be connected. So that's one thing. Oh yeah, and of course what I can do here as well is create a reference. So let me just right click and create a reference, and let's do that back to the lead schedule again. So, and of course, same as cross reference, it will take me back to my lead schedule again. I can now sign off this document by doing a right click anywhere in the document and go to the bottom here where I have my completion. So I can say this is now completed by. That would put my initials here in the completed by box and also put in the actual date of sign off. Now if I go out of my lead sheet and go back to the document manager, you can see that the my completed by actually shows up in this column for this document. So just to show you, I can also sign off directly from the document manager on multiple documents. I can select 2 other lead sheets, do a right click and say completed by. I will get this little tick mark here, and I will get my initials and sign off date on these in this column as well. Now within working papers you can set off up to 8 sign off roles, different roles. So in this example I have completed by and reviewed by, and as you can see, when I also sign off for reviewed by, my initials get also filled in this column, and the little tick actually changes into a bigger tick mark, indicating that the whole document has been completed. So you can do that sign off on each and every document, same as the checklist that we saw in the beginning. And if you have that, you can also switch on the filter here, the filter bar. I think that's probably here. Yes, filter by. And I can now say either show me all the documents that are completed by role 1. So there you go. It filters out all the other documents, or by role 2, or show me all the documents that have not been completed by anyone. So all the documents that are not yet signed off, and now you see it hides my lead sheets. So those are 2 of the very basic filters. There are more extensive filters here, and if that still is not enough, then you can completely go in and make your own filter, completely go all out and create whatever filter works for you to work with the document manager. A very common filter that a lot of users create is creating a tag. And just to quickly show you that, I can tag any documents by just setting any tag, just free form. I just go in and say, for example, this is a partner document. Then I can also show my tags here in the document manager. I can see this document now has been tagged. And then in the filters, I could create my own filter saying only show me the documents that are tagged, for example, with this tag partner. So that is something that's done quite commonly by our clients, and that would filter out only the documents that are relevant for a partner to review or sign off out of all those documents in the document manager. So that really is a very, very powerful feature. Okay, now let's say, and I'm just gonna sign off this document. Let's say that something came up, making a mistake there, during the audit, something that needs follow-up. So this could be a review note, or this could be something to discuss with your client. You've seen these little notes here, the notes that you put into the actual lead sheet on the face of the document. If there is something that needs follow-up, I also have the option to create what we call issues. So I can do a right click here on this document, say add new issue, and then you'll see this box is a bit more extensive. An issue actually has a couple of fields. So I have a short description. So well, I'll just put in subject, or say receive Football's issue to discuss. I can assign a type. So this is the list of issue types that you get out of the box with Audit International, but you can extend this and you can create your own types. So I'm not just going to say this is audit findings and matters for discussion. I think I'm okay with that. I can assign it to a person. Right now I'm the only user in this file, so only my name shows up, but I could assign it to anyone. I can set a priority, high, medium, low. And now this issue is created automatically from this document, so it's automatically linked. If I had created it not directly from the document, I could specify any document in the document manager here. Okay, so here I have my description. Please make sure, and then something. And if I now click OK, that issue is stored in our issue database. It actually shows an icon here that there's an outstanding issue for this document. I can hover over it, see the key information of that issue. Let me close that again. Or I can also switch on my issue pane here at the bottom. So let me just organize my screen a little bit more, and I can say here, show me all issues, and there we have this issue, exclamation, because it's high priority. It has this number, and this is my description. Now you might see that it adds a hyperlink. So if I just click that hyperlink, I will go to that document, and that document will be opened. Now this is the initial creation of the issue. If I now go in, let's say I have assigned it to someone else, put in my description, then the other person can put in the resolution here. Resolution, we have done this, this, and this. Say this issue is now completed, which means the percentage complete will go to 100%. And if I click OK, well, you saw the status change. This because this view is sorted by status. It now changes to the status completed. But also when I expand the issue, you see that it gets a strike through. It becomes grayed out. So it's really clear that this issue has been dealt with. You might also notice that the little icon is gone here, so there's no pending issues for document 130. There's actually a bit more of a workflow to that. If you don't want to keep issues in your file, you can remove this, retain on cleanup, which means it will be deleted when you run the cleanup. And you can also say this issue has been cleared, and then say, okay, only delete the cleared issues. So it used to be back in the days that a lot of firms had this rule that no issues should stay in your engagement file once everything is completed. More recently, I've been meeting a lot of firms that actually say, no, we want our issues in the file, because when we have review notes, then they classify them as review notes. That actually shows that review has taken place, and it's proof that we've been doing review. So different opinions there, the technology is there, and it's up to you how you want to use it. Now, before we wrap up this, this portion on how to document your audit evidence and how to work with the document manager, just going to mention one or two more things. Any automatic document here that I have, I can save that as into an Excel sheet. So don't confuse this with the connector. This will be an export into an Excel file. So it will keep the layout of my receivables. Well, you know what? Let me just quickly do that. Desktop here. Okay. So that's exporting into an Excel file, and I will show you the result in a minute or in a second. There we go. 130, and so my other monitor. Here, there we go. What I like about this is that it actually keeps the layout of the automatic document. So, for example, if you want to send your client a statement or a calculation or anything, and the lead sheet is about 80% right, or the lead sheet already shows the right number of accounts, you just want to add some lines or modify it, then I think this would be a very useful feature. This is your starting point. I can now insert lines, modify, do formatting. All my comments will be kept So I think that's good to have as well. But again, don't confuse this with the connector Excel sheet that I did earlier. This is just an export, so that means these numbers are actual values, not formulas, meaning that they will not change anymore if I make a change in working papers. Okay, so little side step there, that's our export to Excel. Let me go here. And the other thing I can do here is save it as a PDF file, which I think is very, very useful. If you want to send your client something, PDF I think is a very accepted format. And then you get the option to show annotations or not. I think if I go here, there's another export into PDF, yes, that we call the batch PDF. Just want to mention this briefly. With this, I can select multiple documents. So I can do a lead sheet, for example, even an Excel sheet, or a PDF, whatever. Well, let's do the work program. And I can now generate a PDF with all those documents in it. One PDF with 4 documents in it. The PDF will create an automatic table of contents. So each document will get a bookmark, and it's very easy to navigate for your client. When I do a roll forward, I will keep this selection. So you actually keep track of the deliverables that you've sent to your client as a PDF. And next year, you're able to easily export the exact same documents in the same order, in the same shape, and send it to your client again. So I think those are some very useful features here in the document management. Now, before we wrap this up, I would like to go back to my work program. This is the work program on receivables that we started with when we were doing all this field work, let's say. I'm just going to complete a couple of procedures here. This one, say here, yes, completed, no exceptions. That's all fine. And then for this one, I'm going to say completed with exceptions noted below. Now, this is a special completion response. If I do this, you can see that I automatically get this text area. Let's call that, let's put in comment area of a procedure. And you might also notice that I get this little red button here. Now, when I click this, we actually put in a little, hopefully, efficiency feature for you. It will create an issue. The issue will copy over the wording that you have here in the comments to your procedure. There, comment area of a procedure. It will copy over your completion response and the person, the initials, and when this work was done. Automatically pick a type. This is something I can specify. Link it to this document, and the subject, I can do that. So cut off issue. But for the rest, this is exactly the same as that manual issue that I created. So it will be, when I click OK, it will be stored in the issue database, and it will either require follow-up or it will show up in the partner manager summary document that I will show later on. So, and now my little red, I think you call that a diamond, has changed to a little yellow triangle indicating that an issue was created. Okay, so I'm just gonna complete this as well. Let's see if there's anything else. Just say yes, completed. Okay, so that's how I would complete my audit procedures. And one final thing that I need to do here in my work program is going to my conclusion. Just do a right click, choose editable or edit conclusion, and say, okay, I have added some text to this. Okay, by lack of a better idea. Okay, so that sums up the field work. I have gone in, done some tests, added some documents that I received from my client, or created a document with connector to document my test. I've created some issues, created some annotation notes, went back to the work program and completed my procedures and a conclusion. And we will see how that flows into the next documents in the next videos.